This is going to piss some people off, but here it goes. Russia shouldn't be banned from participating in the World Cup or the Euro. And this has nothing to do with politics. This has everything to do with the sport and what it's supposed to be for everybody. So let's dive in. Why are they banned in the first place? Well, I think many of you know the answer, because of the ongoing conflict with Ukraine. So the purpose of them being banned is for them to stop it, right? So if you ban somebody from participating in a sport for an ongoing conflict, then that's going to make them want to stop the conflict, right? Well, let's look at the track record. What has happened over the last 3 years? Has anything stopped? I don't think so. So what has this actually done? Well, when I was in Russia, they're very inventive. Matches still happened. The Premier League still occurred as normal, even though they can't participate in Champions League. The national team has played friendlies and played in tournaments against other countries who are down to play them. So has this really stopped them from playing football? Has this really crippled their game? Well, maybe players aren't as good. Maybe they're not getting as much exposure to other competition. But the point is, they were banned because it's supposed to stop them from engaging in a conflict with another country. But clearly, that hasn't stopped. So if the purpose of banning them is to get them to stop it, and they're not stopping, then what is the purpose of them being banned? The crazy thing to me is that the players who participate on the team have no control over what the government does. They don't. That's not to say that you don't know the political ideologies of what the players believe, etc. But the point is that they're athletes. They're not soldiers. They do not represent the views of a country's government, because sports is, in many ways, an escape for all of us to find community, to make friendships, to represent the national pride we have from where we come from. But in this instance, players are being punished for something that they have no control over, which is insane, because if you were to actually look at all the track record of countries that have been involved with conflicts involving another country, how many times has FIFA banned one of those nations or both of those nations from participating? And how many times has it worked? Are there any other countries right now that are engaging in conflicts? I wonder if there are. And if there are any, I wonder if any of them have been banned by FIFA from participating. Football is the beautiful game that's supposed to unite us all, right? Don't they have that saying, football unites the world? So if football unites the world, why are there exceptions to that? If this ban was because of things that had to do with the ethics of the sport, whether it be doping or corruption within the football federation and things that affected coaches, players, and athletes, that's completely different. But the fact of the matter is that it has nothing to do with that. And so many people have been unfairly punished for something they can't control, and there's no end in sight. Who knows when the ban could be lifted? I don't know. I have no idea if they'd ever decide to lift it, because if anything, if they lift it now, then it looks like they're backtracking. Then it might look like they were wrong in the first place, and they might have to admit fault and say, hey, you know what? We unfairly punished you. We're sorry. But how often would big organizations be able to put their ego aside and admit such things? I don't know if very often. So here's what I can say. When I traveled to Russia, I met so many people who talked extremely fondly about the 2018 World Cup. They were so nostalgic, as if it was just only yesterday, reminiscing about the memories and the friends and the amazing stories that they had to tell from this huge event. And for those out there who might start complaining or saying things like, oh, well, they got the World Cup because of corruption and blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? Do you want to have a tiny country host the World Cup? Do you want to have a country build a bunch of fake stadiums and fake cities that are not going to be used after the event just for the sake of hosting the World Cup? Now, I'm not going to name names, but if anything, Russia had a pretty solid track record of having hosted the World Cup. Things went off without a hitch. The stadiums that they used were already there, and anything that was built and constructed was able to be used accordingly. Things didn't go to waste for this tournament. And after the fact, the stadiums and the infrastructure that was built has added to the communities of the country. The stories that people would tell me about the time of the 2018 World Cup in Russia was amazing. I heard things like, oh man, those were amazing times. I wish we could have them back. People from France and from Germany, they were friends and we were all getting together and having fun. And even Mexicans and Russians realized how similar they are to each other, despite language barrier, despite different culture, despite being from opposite ends of the world. That to me is an example of football uniting the world. And to take that away from a huge nation that has played an important role in being in major tournaments, in the Euro, in the World Cup, the first European champions ever. Now again, this is not to start ranting about the decorated history of the Russian national team. This is simply to say their punishment is unjust because of reasons that are far beyond their control. And for this to continue makes you question, what is the purpose of this ban anyways? I don't see athletes and national teams and coaches of other countries engaged in ongoing conflicts being punished for the geopolitical situations of their country. Do you? This is not a message condoning the actions and politics of governments around the world. Football is for everyone, and that also includes people you might not agree with. Athletes are not the ones that make the decisions for the government. Athletes are there to play with pride and represent their country. Same as everybody. That's why people love the Olympics. That's why people love the World Cup. They love stories that bring countries together, that bring people together. And banning athletes and coaches from participating in these international events does not help that cause. It only creates more division amongst us. If you're going to punish somebody, punish those that are at fault. Punish those who are responsible for what's going on. Don't punish people who have no control over geopolitics. From having traveled to many places that are not recommended to go to by governments, I've learned that people across many places are more similar to each other than they're led to believe. People are not politicians. Athletes are not politicians. They want to love, be loved, have food in their stomachs, clothes on their back, and a roof over their head, just like you and me. Russia is no exception to this, as is any other country. It's basic humanity at the end of the day. If you want to punish people, fine. Punish those responsible, not athletes and coaches who have nothing to do with geopolitics. And listen, you don't have to agree with me either. But if you think that Russia should be banned, then at least be consistent. And if you can't, then maybe the ban was never really about football in the first place.